Good evening and welcome to the Hack AI knowledge sharing session on how to pitch your solutions. Hack AI is organized by STEMUp Educational Foundation in partnership with UNDP and in collaboration with SLASCOM to provide opportunities for school and university students to join the national movement that drives social impact. We are inviting innovators across the country to build AI powered solutions to solve challenges related to selected sustainable development goals. We have a very interesting speaker to conduct today's knowledge sharing session. If you have any questions, you can send it as a comment on YouTube or Facebook, and we will be happy to answer at the end of the session. Our speaker today, Mr. Shamilan Somasundaram, is a co founder and chief executive officer at Niftron, which is a blockchain as a service platform that recently won the SARC Startup Award. And he's a blockchain consultant advisor for multiple organizations and startups globally. He has over 5 years of experience in the decentralized application solution and development space. He helps organizations and startups to architect and integrate blockchain with their products and projects to become pioneers in their respective industries. I'd like to now invite Mr. Shamilan Somasundaram to conduct today's session.
Hi everyone. Hope you can hear clearly and you can see as well. Hope everyone can see the presentation slide as well, right? Okay. So yeah, thanks for the intro and happy to talk about how to do a better pitch and then I hope that you guys can get some good inputs out of this session and looking forward to see like good pictures coming out from you guys as well. So first of all, the whole plan of the session is basically to give you an understanding about identify a proper script for your or how to prepare a proper script for your pitches, and then how you can design and then how you can deliver at the end as well. So these are the main three contents of the pitch, contents of this session, and let's directly go into that. So mainly any pitches that you do, it's all about telling a story. So every time you do a pitch or else every time you deliver something as a presentation, it's always focused on giving a story or telling a story about a product that you developed or else a project that you've done, or maybe about a business or whatever that you are going to present or pitch. It's always focused more on telling a story. But what matters is good pitches tell story all the times, but the best pitches makes it personal. So it's not only about telling a story, or it's not only about creating a nice script that emphasize what you've done or what you are developing, but it's more important to connect that story or that connect that product or connect that concept or connect the problem that you are building or developing, or the problem that you're solving, that need to be connect personally with the persons who are in the other side as the listeners. Then that is the most better way to do a pitch, and the best way to connect with the people as well, and best way to convey what you are planning to tell into others mind. It's only way is to make that story connect with them. So always remember that you have to have a story, so that is the baseline. So any pitches that you do or any presentations that you're going to do, uh, that need to be that need to have a story. But the most important is you have to find a ways, and you have to find the links how you can make it personal, and how you can connect that with each of the audience that are out there. So let's see, in these presentations we'll be see like couple of ways how you can identify the potential connecting points, and then how you can develop a pitch that you can easily connect with the audience or easily connect with the people who are listening in the other side. So this is one of the famous examples that people gives, as you're also going to pitch for hackathons, and then most of the times it's more about startups and it's more about entrepreneurship. And even it's whether it's a competitions that you're going to pitch as a hackathons, or else if it is a startup or a business pitch that you're going to do, most of the times it's compared to proposals, because the reason is it's always one side that you're going to talk, and the other side it's about listening, and at the end it's about yes or no answers that comes. And whether it's a competitions, sometimes you pitch and then you get a good responses, and sometimes you get bad responses as well. And the other side, when you're going to pitch your ideas to investors, or maybe pitch about doing a sales pitch, or what kind of a pitches, whatever the kind of pitches you do, it's most of the times startups or initial stage businesses or products tend to compare that with this kind of situations, because you try to convince, or you try to do a better pitch to get that positive response, or else get a response as yes, rather than getting it as a no or else backfired. But it happens as well, so it's not always you do a better pitch and expect the same results. But it's most of the times you have to hit for that like high level of mark, where you can try to convince the other side, and you can get the positive responses. So that is what all about we are going to do, like how to do a pitch, or how to prepare a pitch that can get that positive response, or is that can get that answer as yes. So the most important thing, or the first thing that you do is, before the main mistake that most of the people do, whether it's startups, or whether it's businesses, or even for the hackathons, or even simple as competitions, the first thing that we do it is, when we want to do a pitch, or when we want to deliver a presentation, we directly open a PowerPoint, or else open different tools, and then we started to create slides. So that is the one of the mistakes that we do, because when we start directly going to the softwares, or directly going to the digital platforms, and when we start to create pictures, that reduce our creativity, as well as that will be take a lot of time for us to do it, if we go in that process. So the easiest way, or the best way to focus is, if you want to do a pitch, you have to, I mean, it can be either digital, or it can be a paper and pencil as well. So you have to get that, and you have to jot down the points why you are doing this pitch. So first of all, you have to understand the purpose, or the reason that you are doing the pitch, and then you can work on the content as a script. And then once you've done everything properly, and once you get that flow, so then finally you can go into the softwares, and you can build that visual designs, or images, or whatever the way that you want to focus or present this in a digital manner. You can do that as the last part. But the most important, or the first step you have to take it is, you have to sit down, and you have to write these things in a digital or a physical way, but you have to write these things, and then you have to work on that. So that is the best way you can start, rather than directly jumping into the PowerPoints. And and the first thing you have to write down is, or first thing you have to think about is, uh, why you are doing this pitch. So what is the purpose of the pitch, and what is the outcome of the pitch as well. So usually when it comes to startups or businesses, like you'll have see like different types of pitches, or pitch decks that they'll be maintained, because it depends on the audience you are pitching, or depends on the purpose or the outcome of that pitch. So for an example, if you're going to the competitions, you have to prepare your pitch deck in a totally different manner, where you have like different contents and different flow, and you have to focus more on your competitive advantages, and what is the things that you're doing better, and things as such things. But when you're focusing on investor pitch, you have to be more focused on the revenues, you have to focus on numbers, and you have to focus on specific areas which attracts the investors, or which will be kind of convince them to say that yes answer if you are doing that pitch. And when it comes to sales pitch, you have to more focus on like convince the other party, or convince that client to buy your product, or subscribe your softwares, or whatever. And you have to convince them by showing that how they will be get that impact if they're using your product, or how you are solving their pain points or problems, and also how you are different than the products that they're using, or competitors. So you have to be more focused on that particular outcome. So the first thing you have to know is, what is the occasion, or what is the uh, event that you're going to pitch, and what is the purpose of that, and what is the outcome of that. And once you understand that, then you know like what kind of audience will be there. So it can be a lot of audience in some cases, but in some cases like investor pitching or something, there'll be like a very few people. But you have to understand the audience, and you have to understand the that atmosphere, like what type of role, what roles of the people that will becomes there. So if you're going to a client and you're pitching it, so there'll be CFOs, CEOs, CTOs, so different kind of people comes there, and then you have to kind of get an idea what kind of things you have to be more focused on, and how your presentation flow need to be as well. And once you understand this, you have to be focused on a specific people in that audience. So you'll be have a large number of people, but your pitch need to be convince a very few number of people. So for an example, if it is a competition, there will be a lot of teams will become, there will be a lot of people will becomes and all. But the most important thing is you have to convince that target audience as judges. So that is your most focused or most important task to do. And same as when you're going to sell your product to a company or a client, then there'll be like 4 or 5 different roles will be there, like CTO, CEO, CFOs, different people will be there. But the ultimate goal for you is you have to get a answer, or the response, or you have to convince the person who is going to make that decision. So you can't go and convince your product by selling to lower level people in that companies, or maybe if your product is a more software product, you can't directly sell it to developers in that company. But what you have to do is you have to convince the CEO to buy that or subscribe that product, which can be used by the developers. So you have to understand in sales pitches, if it is sales pitch, you have to understand whether you're selling to a consumer or whether you're selling to the customer. So you have to know that difference, and then you can directly pitch it to the customer than the consumers as well. And once you understand these things, so if it is a competition, so if it is a different kind of a pitches, you have to know what kind of judges you can expect, and what are things that they'll evaluate, and then you can focus your pitch or your presentations more onto that. So once you done that, all three parts, like and all two parts, like what is the occasion, so what is the purpose that you're doing this pitch, and to whom you are doing this pitch, and then what is your target people or target group of that. So then you'll be have a single point of focus of how you want to do your presentations, or what is the purpose or what is the reason you're doing it. And you will be get a better clarity as well. So you don't need to if you're doing it for a investor, then you don't need to put more on about like how that will be solve a client issues, or how that will be convinced like how you're doing a sales pitch. So you don't need to do like how that will be reduce the specific revenue of the client or something like that. But you'll be more focused on how much revenue you can get it, how much your growth in the past, and how much your growth in the future. And same as if you're doing it to a client, you don't need to focus on, or you don't need to show what is your growth or how much revenue you got, or how much percentage you've grown compared to the past. But what you need to be focused more is how much your product will impact them, and also like what is the advantages they can get, and what is the problems you can solve. So you'll get a better clarity what part of your business or what part of your project you have to focus on. And once you've done those things, then the most important part is you can get into the script of the pitch. So once you start to the scripting, you have to decide first of all the timing of the pitch as well. So once you understand the timing of the pitch, you knows like how much time you want to do this pitch, and then you can break down into seconds, and then you can decide how you want to split that time or seconds between the slides. Some pitches, maybe you will be doing it for a like elevator pitch, like 1 minute pitches, or some will becomes as 90 seconds, some will becomes as 3 minutes, some 5 minutes, some 7 or 10 minutes. So it depends on the criterias, and depends on the situations that you do pitching. But it's always important to prepare different pitches for different timelines, or different specific time periods. So then at any point that you want to do a pitch, you can have like different formats and different structures of the presentations. So then you can easily do those pitches at any point. And mostly like some presentations or some pitches like elevator pitches, you don't usually use slides. So it's all about the content and how you can maximize that 90 seconds or a 1 minute time to convey what your core parts, or what is the most important 3 or 4 aspects of your business or of your product. So you have to convince them, and it's more about the elevator pitches. It's more about getting that initial traction or getting that initial hook in their minds, so that they'll be directly come back to you and ask more about you, and like to learn more about your product or what you're doing. So that is the most important part. So you have to create that kind of excitement, or else kind of curiosity in their minds to learn more about your product and more about your services, so they can directly follow up in the future. So some 5 minute speeches or some sales speeches, it will be goes about 7 minutes, but it's always better to keep it like 7 to 10 minutes as a max, rather than going too much of that. And within that time period, you have to divide how you want to specify, or how you want to focus on each points, and how you can deliver that perfectly. So at the starting, any pitches that you do, or any presentation that you do, so you have to start with a bang. But the most important thing is you have only 7 seconds window. So usually, this is more like a proven mechanism, where people usually have that 7 seconds span of time, where they get either like to be continuously focused on your presentations, or else it is more like a first impression. So you can create that within that 7 seconds, to create that hook within their mind, so they can straightly focus for another 1 minute, or maybe another 90 seconds of your presentations. And you have to keep this hook continuously throughout the presentations until the end. And if you lose that within the 7 seconds, it's not mean that you can't get it back, but it's very difficult, or very rare scenario, that if you lose that initial attention of that people within that 7 seconds, then getting that back is it's pretty hard in that point. But if you can hook that within that 7 seconds, then that will be most important. So how you can do that is, start with without like starting with a lot of content or a lot of text. Start with either an image, and then because visual talks a lot than the text talks. So start with an image, or maybe you can start with a small video clip for 7 minutes, something that express the reason that you're doing this product, or the problems that people are facing it, so something like that. And then you can start with or you can start the presentations with the facts about did you know this kind of issues happening, or this did you know this many percentage of the people getting affected of these issues. So you can start with that, and you can start with always any codes that are told by some people, or else you can start with percentages as well. So you don't need to put like a lot of numbers in that. So it's something like a specific number or specific percentage, or couple of percentages, and you have to start with that uh, as a more like a kickstart of your pitch. And then you have to always start with that bang, so then all the attentions will be focused on that stage and focus on you, so you can carry out that for a while. And when it comes to content, so basically the content goes as usually starting statement, so that is the starting of the pitch. And then you have to start with the problem, or what is or why you are doing this product, and the impact that problem is causing. Is it a product or a project, so whatever. So if you're doing something, that means there are some pain points, or else there are some issues that you're trying to solve. So before putting your solution, or before starting with what you are doing, you have to mainly tell that why you are doing. So once you tell that why you are doing, that will be connect with the people more than you're saying that okay, this is what we are doing, and then going back why we are doing these things. So start with the problem, and then start with not just only telling about the problem, but tell about the impact that is creating, or the issues that people are facing because of that pain points or problems. So those are the things, as I mentioned, like it's not about telling the story about that problem, but telling the story that it's relevant to the people who are listening, and also connect them with the stories as a more personal stories. So you have to not only about focus on problem, but tell that how that problem actually affect, or how that problem is actually impacting that society, or impacting that users. And then you can directly come into your solution. So once you do these 3 things, you can directly come to your solution, and then you can maybe like we'll see like how you can design the things later, but this is more about the flow or the script structure. So you can come to your solution, and then you can talk about your solution, and then you can talk about core features only. So you don't need to talk about all the features in your presentation. Focus on what is the most important 3 or 4 features. So don't go more than 4 features. So talk about only 3 or 4 features that core of your application or the product. And then USP, so the unique selling point or the competitiveness, or what is the uniqueness in your product comparing to others. So what are the things you are doing different, and what are the, so that can be either feature, or that can be something like a model that you're using, or maybe that is your kind of a unique source in your product. So anything that is adding value, or that is differentiating you from rest of the people who are trying to do the same thing, or who are already doing the same thing. So then you can explain those things after your the core features. And then you can go about competitors, and then you can talk about like kind of a market analysis, like what type of different competitors out there, and how you are different from them, and what is the ways that you see you are offering something better than what they are already offering, and how you are seeing that you have the potential to solve this problem better than how they are solving currently, or how they attempt to solve. And then you can directly come to a business model, so where you can talk about like how much you are charging, or how much per unit you are selling, all these informations about like business model scenarios you can mention in that couple of slides. And then you have to must keep a slide. It's regardless of what type of the pitch you are doing, so is it a competition, or is it an investor, or is it a sales, it's must to keep that so far what you have done. It can be the things can be different. So if it is a investors or someone you are going to do, so it can be a growth that you, or even competitions, you can put it as a growth. So how you started, or when you started, and so far what you have done. And maybe you have started with the idea, and now you have a product. Or maybe you started with an like idea, you have product, and now you have made some revenue. So anything that comes there, you have to show that growth. And you have to show your recognitions, and if you have won any competitions, or if you have take part in any different incubator programs or accelerator programs, what kind of recognitions you got, you have to mention that one. And then you can start with you can even mention about your revenues, and also the impact. So all comparing to all these 3 things, it depends on where you pitch. So if it's the investors, the most important is the growth and the revenues. And when it comes to clients, if you're pitching, the most important part is more than your growth, the impact that you create. So what that means is, if you already have like 3 or 4 clients, or if you have done some pilots, you can show that how you help them, or how your product or software impact in their businesses or in their lives. So once you translate that stories into your pitches, so for an example, like we built a product, and then we give it to a user, and because of this product that helps their lives, or maybe reduce their revenues, or reduce their cost, or maybe made their products more efficient, or made their lives more efficient. So if you directly transfer that into your pitches, then that will be a more convincing statement for a other person to either judge you in competitions, or either like buying your products in sales pitches. Because it's not only about they are going to buy, but you are convincing them that already these people have bought it, and these are the advantages they are getting. So it's more like call it as peer pressure. So without you putting them into a situation, okay, I'm pitching you and you want to purchase this one, rather than you show that, okay, I'm pitching it, but already this number of people bought it, and these are the impacts that it created in their lives. So then automatically they'll be get that peer pressure, and they'll be try to purchase it from you, because they can see that a lot of other people are doing it, and then a lot of other people are using it as well. Maybe whether it's a known person or unknown person to them, it doesn't matter. But as a human, the psychology works. So if you show that this many people are already using, and these are the benefits they're getting, most of the times there are high chances that the other person also try to buy it and use it in like in their lives. And the next one is you have to talk about your team. So you have to mention about why you are capable of this, or why your team is capable of solving this, and you have to mention your expertise, or what is the reason that you're doing, and why you feel you are the guys who can solve this problem, or you are the guys who can build this product and take it out. And the most important thing that most of the pitches missing is call to action. So if it is like a competition, or if it is an investor, or if it is like a sales pitch, you have to have that call to action slide. So if it is a sales pitch, the call to action is maybe the ways that they can connect with you, or the packages that they can directly purchase, or how they can, what they can do after this pitch is done. So once the pitch is done, so if you just leave it from there, so then there's no way that they can follow it up. So you have to give some call to actions for them. Either they can, you can ask them like when you can directly follow it up, or how they can directly, so like get, maybe you can give them some free accounts to try it out. So you have to have some call to action plans that they can directly take it. And when it comes to investors, so it can be an ask. So you can mention like, okay, this is the amount that we are going to ask as investment, and then they can follow it up from there. And if it's a competition pitch, you can mention different call to actions, as you can let them to try out this immediately, or maybe you can simply showing a demo, or you can do as a different call to action plans in that scenarios. And then finally, as how you started with the bank, so you had to finish with the bank as well at the end. So those are the most two points, starting and the ending, and the middle you have to cover it up with the rest of the content. So these are the basic content for any slides, but any pictures. But depends on, as I mentioned, it depends on different pitches, and different situations that you are pitching, and the different audience you pitch. You have to change a bit here and there to adjust it to that. And the way that you can structure the flow is, it's basically you have all the contents here, but how the flow should be structured is, initially like we had to start with why. So as I mentioned, like it's more important to connect with the people rather than focusing more on your product. So you have to start with that why. So where you are talking about the starting statement, and then the problem that you're solving, and the impact that is creating in because of this problem, what are the impacts that is creating in the people's lives, or your clients lives, or users lives. And then how you have to talk about the statement, or it can be either your mission statement, or it can be a statement that you tell like this is how you are going to solve this problem, or this how you are going to solve this pain point. So you have to make that statement. So we'll see some examples. And then at the end, the third part is you have to talk about what you're doing. So what you're doing, you have to come to the end as your solution, and then the core features of that, and then unique selling point or competitiveness. So how, what you're doing, and then how you've done these things as well. So this is one of the famous examples from Simon Sinek. So you can, I would advise to go and check, everyone to check Simon Sinek. I mean, you can find it in YouTube as well. So the three ways that how you can directly do a pitching, or how you can do a sales, or how you can convince people, because it's more about the scientific psychology approach, how human brains works. So rather than saying what we do, because most of the times we know what we do, but then we don't know why we are doing, or we know how we are doing as well, but we don't know why we are doing. So once you understand that why you are doing that one, so what is the purpose, or what is the actual reason that you're doing something, you can directly put that into the people's mind. And then as with the problems and things, and then that will be create that like kind of a mindset for them to want to know more about how we are solving that, and what you are going to build, or what you are using to solve that. So for an example, even his video that mentioned is how Apple use this structure or the formula. So they don't start with what product they build, or they don't start with like we build computers or we build phones, but they start with why they build. So as their motto is like challenging the status quo. So that is the reason, or that is the purpose for them. And how they are challenging the status quo is by building more user friendly and more creative products. And and one of that is computers. So that's how they pitch, like why they do as a purpose, and how they do as a more creative and more user friendly and proper designed products. And what they are doing is, one of that is they're building computers. So people will connect more than you are telling that we are building a high end computers or high end softwares, and then this is how we are building it, and this is why we are building it. So if it goes that way, people very less that they connect, or very less that they basically convince to say that yes, or say that positive response. So it's always important to start with why, how, and then going to the what part. And when it comes to the design, the most important thing is you have to focus more on visuals, because as mentioned, 60,000 times faster. The processing time is faster than how the text processing as well. So that is one of the reasons it's more important to focus more on images or icons rather than putting a paragraphs or lot of text, because you can talk those things directly when you are pitching. So you can talk a lot while putting in one of the slide, but the most important thing is no need to put all of these informations in that slide, because people don't have that much time to read it. And then if you're doing a pictures like 5 minutes or 7 minutes, then it's very difficult to for the people to read this, because you will be quickly move to the slides. So it's important to keep image or maximum and also like maximum 2 to 3 images, rather than keeping a lot of images or a lot of icons. You can focus on if you're doing it in a PowerPoint or something, you can focus max on four images max that you can go, but 2 to 3 is more advisable. And if you can deliver something with one image, that is also a better way to do it. And reduce the text, reduce the content, and improve more on visuals. And as mentioned, visual stocks more than text stocks. And these are the things that you need to focus in designing. So once you, so far, like, you know why you're doing the presentations, or what is your audience, and then you come to a point, your script, what are the points that you want to talk, and then what are the flow that you want to set as why, how, what. So once you do those parts, the next part is about designing. So designing, this is the point that you will be actually getting into software, so getting into a PowerPoint. Until that, you will be more focused on writing the script and writing this flow. So it's not like writing a script means you have to write like paragraphs and paragraphs, but you have to just write on the points. Maybe a simple jotting down the points is more than enough. And then you can directly come into the designing part, where you have to use very less content and more visuals, and then spread the info into more slides. Because one of the mistakes the people who are doing pictures first time, or maybe sometimes they make it repetitive as well, they think that if they have more slides, that means they have to talk more time. But so what they do it is the other reverse way. They keep very minimum number of slides, but they put a lot of information inside that particular slides. So if you have a one single slide, and that has like 4 or 5 points, and then if you have like around 7 8 images, or maybe huge tables, couple of tables, sometimes we can see like even 4 tables in some slides, and people keep like 5 6 images here and there. So what happens is, you think that if you have like 10 slides or 8 slides, then you can manage with the time restrictions rather than keeping 20 slides. But the truth is, it's not about the number of slides that limit the time that you are going to talk. It's about the content that you're delivering per slide. And it's more important to not put everything, and then not put like a more cluttered slides, but we have to spread that information into multiple slides, so which will be give that space, or give that nice clarity for the people who are viewing from the other side, to see, okay, this slide is focused on a particular one information. So each slides need to be focused on one information, and that they can directly understand. And then you can split that into multiple slides. You can directly move that as well, so you don't need to sometimes spend much time. If you have one slide focusing on one thing, and maybe one point, one image, you can directly move to the other one, which won't actually take you a lot of time as well. And each slides focus on a one point or a takeaway. So don't put like a lot of points or a lot of informations people need to grab from one particular slide. So focus one slide on one particular point and deliver it perfectly. So that's more important thing. And your designs should be consistent. So fonts, in terms of fonts, or in terms of size, or in terms of colors, or even in terms of where you positioning particular things, because after a while, a couple of slides, people started to see, so they'll be see that the contents are coming from this side or images will be this side. So once they get into that pattern, so keep that pattern consistent throughout the presentations. And also like animations and all, keep it more consistent, so don't put animation. So in some pictures it may work like more different animations, but in most of the professional pictures or the business pictures, keep less animations, because your contents are coming or flying from here and there, it won't make much sense, or it won't give you additional values to the presentation. But it's more important is keep that clean and simple, and with the proper clarity. So you have to use minimum animations. So maybe it can be a kind of happier animations in the PowerPoints, or else without any animations also, that would be perfect, as long as it's conveys and it is visually appealing as well. And then make it simple and clear. So don't minimalistic way of doing presentations is more important, rather than putting it a lot of infos and lot of text and lot of multiple animations here and there.
Hello, hi Sharmilan. I think you are on mute. Hi Sharmilan, are you connected? You are currently on mute.
Hello,
Ah, yes, hi Sharmilan. I think we
can you
had
hear
a
now? Right?
small technical difficulty, right?
Okay. Is it too long that it's muted, or else just now?
Just about 3 minutes.
Okay, sure. Okay, I'll start with that. And the video is working now?
Uh, could you just switch your presentation a bit? Currently, your video is not working, but we can see a presentation.
Okay.
It's on the what not to do slide. Ah, okay, I can see answering
Yeah.
questions.
Sure. No? Okay. No?
Great. Yes.
Sure. I think some technical issues. I'll continue with that, and let's see the video here.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And now the audio is perfect, right?
Yes, audio is really good.
Sure. So I'll start from the yeah. We'll start from the what not to do. So I think you guys got the call to action. So call to action is basically you have to give that next step. So you have to mainly talk about the next step, what the audience can do. So if it is a sales, you have to talk about what they can do as a next step of after leaving that session, or after leaving that event, or after you do a sales pitch to a customer, and then after you leave the office, or what they can do as a next step. So you have to talk about that. And then if it is investor pitch, you can basically put out a ask, what you're going to ask. And then if it is some incubators or accelerators that you are going, so then you can put a call to action as what is the reason that they can select you, or what is the reason that you are qualified for that, and what is the next step that you are going to do, what they can do as a call to action steps as well, following up from that presentations or the pitches. And then what not to do is basically the traditional startings, which most of the times companies do that part. So for an example, like you can see, like most of the pitches, people comes and say that this is the next Microsoft kind of an idea, or this is the next Facebook that we are going to build. Or else people comes and say this is one of the best solutions out there, and this is the most efficient or most innovative products. So these kind of a starts that people like usually hear a lot. And then what happens is that is one of the kind of create that usual traditional feel, or sometimes it's a negative feel as well, because Usually once you do some products, and if you're saying that this is the most important, or this is the one and only innovative product, or one and only efficient product, so then that shows that sometimes that you are not done enough market research, or you are not understand what are the competitors and things out there. So don't try to be like that kind of a starting. So you can say that you are doing it some innovative ways, or you're doing something, so we are you're talking about your competitiveness or unique selling points. You can point out what are things you are doing different and all, but at the start, talk about more about what is your statement or else the problems that you're starting. And then once you come to the solution also, don't directly start as like it's the most innovative or those kind of traditional usual presentation words or the phases. So you have start with uh, in a more light way, and then take it those and highlight those things when it matters in unique selling points or competitiveness. And then uh, not reporting your progress is one of the bad things as well, so that's you should not to do at any pitches. So it's irrelevant to the pitch. So whatever the pitch you do, it's important to show that progress what you have done, so then only people can see it's not something that you're doing now but you have done for a while, and then these are things you are improved, and you're not same level as what when you started as well, so you have to show that progress. And then unprepared is one of the bad things, because if you're not prepared, uh, it won't work at this stage as well. So sometimes at some levels of presentations it will work, but most of the times it won't work, and then it will be reflect directly as well, so you have to be prepared. And most of the times the big pictures or big uh, presentations that you do, be more prepared and make it as a kind of a big day in your life. So then once you prepare properly, you can go and do it properly as well. So, and too much content is one of the negative things, and then doing it too fast also one of the bad things. So you have to do a bit more, not too slow as well, so you have to go in a good pace. So you have to analyze like how many words we can tell within a particular minute, or else within particular seconds, 5 seconds, how many words you can tell. And then you have to plan according to that your script breakdown. And lack of flow or connectivity also one of the things that you should not to do. So you have to have that proper flow, and you have to have that proper connectivity with the users. And in the end, like when you're answering questions in Q&As, so be confident. So that's one of the things, because you should be confident, because this is your product and you know a lot about your product than anyone else. And most of the things that you mention here in the presentation is what you want to tell to them, or what you want them to understand. So it's all about the kind of a plot is created by you. So you tend to tell like what they want to listen, not what they want to listen, but you tell that what you want them to understand. So it's the plot is created by you, so you knows that you can expect what kind of questions that they can throw at you. And you have to be prepared on that questions as well. So you have to be better to think what are the ways they can think, and what are the ways they can ask the questions, and how you can defend that. And you have to be more confident in that. And then you have to connect your answers with more examples or more experiences. So if they ask about impact, or if they ask about revenue, so you can directly go into the examples or stats and show it. But if it is comes to some impact related questions, you can directly talk about one of the client projects that you done, or one of the pilots you did, or maybe one of the experiments that you tried. So you can take that as an example or experience, and then you can directly answer that. So what happens is, they knows that you have done something, and the answers are not just you are throwing the answers, but you're throwing the answers based on a fact, or else based on a situation that already happened, or based on experiments that you did. So it's more convincing for them. Rather, it's more like you're putting a answer with some of the most important facts or important infos. So then it's more like you're giving evidence, or you're telling something with the evidences. So then that is more important for that time as well. And yeah, so at the end, like it's same as how I started. Like it's all about like when it comes to startup pictures, or the the first times that you're pitching about a product, so the initial projects that you're building. So it's always about like kind of you are doing the proposals. So most of the times you always like will be expect for the positive results, or will be expect for that yes answer. And and if you try to follow a proper structure, and it's the what I explain is it's not that something that you need to 100% follow it. So you can adjust it here and there, depends on your comfortable and the ways that you can do. But the most important part is the flow, like why, how, what, that structure you have to follow. And that is more important. And the ways that you can connect with the people, or the way that you can do a starting, or the way that you can do a closing. So you have to like experiment that, so it's not something comes with the first shot as well. So you have to put some different startings or put some different closings, and then you can experiment and see how that works. And also like you had to be expect not always you can expect the yes results, but it's about you had to aim for that. And sometimes the results will be comes as no as well. So it's all about the learning the things and then experience that in different situations. So you have to not stop from that point, or if you get rejected, or you are not going to stop from that. So maybe if you are participating in competitions, so some competitions you will be get a positive replies, or you'll be win that. Some competitions you won't win, or you will be get rejected. But then it's about like how you can keep move and you can go to the next ones. And same as sales pitch as well, not all the people you are going to do a sales pitch not going to buy your products. But some say yes, some say no. But it's about like you have to understand and you have to reflect why they say yes and why they say no. So more than reflecting people why they say no, you have to reflect on why they say yes as well. So then you can identify what are the points that they get convinced, or what are the points that or what are the reasons that it made them to buy these things. So then you can reflect that more in your next sales pitches, and then you can try to convince similar type of a target audience in majority it will be work as well. So it's important to reflect either is a yes or either is a no. So you have to reflect on what is the reason that it results comes out as yes or no. And same for the competitions as well. So if you win some, if you lose some, but you have to understand why you won and why you lose. So then you knows that the formula behind that, and then you can kind of repeat that formulas again and again, and most of the times it will be work. And so pretty much that's about from my side. So I hope like you have get a better understanding about how you can do a pitch, and then what are things you need to be mainly focused on. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and then we can wind it up from that. Yeah. So and if you have any questions, or if you want to reach me, you can reach me through my email, or else if you need any help on that, you can directly either scan this QR code and connect with me through LinkedIn as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shamran, for that very interesting session. So, everyone listening can drop in your questions using the comment section on either YouTube or Facebook. Also, it's still not too late to register your solutions for Hack AI 2021. You have till December 21st to submit your solutions. And if your solution is selected as a finalist for Hack AI, you will get the opportunity to be mentored by domain experts, and winners will be awarded cash prizes. A few questions that we have here is for a pitch, do we need to explain the technology and process of the solution?
So you have to explain the flow of your solution. So it's not about the process of your solutions. You have to in some it depends on the pitches you do as well. So for an example, if it's a competitions, or if it is a pitch that you're doing to maybe CTO or the technical people, then it's most important because that is what they'll be look for, and that is what they know as well. So you have to talk about your technology, or what is the things that you used in that, or how you solve that particular problem. You don't need to go all deep and talk about your secret things, or how you solve this exactly. So not those kind of important informations, but you have to talk about these are the technologies you used, and this is the way that you solve. So those you can mention it in the slides I mentioned as solution, and then core features, and then you are putting about your unique selling points. So in those are three contents. So don't take it as all these titles as each slides. So it can be single slide as well, but it can be more slides also. So when you're talking about solution, you can mention what are the technologies you're using and what is the way that you are solving this problem, without revealing everything as well.
Thank you. Another question we have is when pitching online through Zoom, what can we do to stand out?
So in Zoom, there are a couple of things. One is, I mean, the way that you're preparing the pitch, or the way that you're setting up the script or the flow, it won't change, whether it's physical or digital one. Maybe in a physical one, you can the important thing you can do it is you can use the more stage space. So you can, while delivering, you can cover a lot of space in the stage, and then you can visually, I mean, you can use your hands, you can use your legs, and then you can walk here and there, and you can do some gestures, and you can talk. But those you can't do in digital ones. So the way that you can kind of make the digital ones more interesting is putting bit more effort on your content as a designs. So how you can keep that people engaging without losing that attention, because they won't much focus on you in the Zoom ones, because it comes very I mean, if you're using with the slides, so then it will comes very small space, but then they'll be more focused on the content that you're sharing. So you have to put more effort to make it bit more creative and bit more interesting in terms of slides. And then you have to be more focused on the usual mechanisms as your background of your places, and then you have to be a bit more professional on that. Maybe if you're a product, you all can use if you're doing the team, you all can use the same backgrounds of that, and then you can use that, so it will shows a bit more professionalism as well. So in terms of script and all, so it's not that much changes compared to digital and all.
Thank you. That was a really great response. And I think those are the questions we have for today. Thank you very much, Mr. Shamilan Somasundaram, and for this educational session. And thank you for everyone who joined today. Thank you and goodbye.